At every family dinner, my sister called my 3-year-old son the same ugly word. She did it for 5 years, and nobody ever stopped her. Last Sunday, I put one envelope on the table in front of her, and she has not said that word since. My son Eli was 3 the first time it happened, at my mother's 4th of July barbecue. He was chasing bubbles across the grass while the whole family watched him laugh. My sister Denise looked at him over the rim of her drink and said, loudly enough for the entire yard to hear, he is adorable. Shame he will always be the family bastard. The yard went quiet. I waited for anyone, to tell her that was enough. My mother laughed nervously and changed the subject. My father suddenly needed to study the grill. I picked up my son, took my wife Mara by the hand, and drove home. That night Denise texted me, do not be so sensitive. It is technically true. Here is the technicality she built 5 years of cruelty on. Mara and I were engaged when her father had a massive stroke. Between the hospital, the bills, and holding her family together, the wedding kept sliding. Eli arrived before we made it to the courthouse. 8 months later we were married. It never mattered to us for a single day. To Denise, it became her favorite toy. Every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, every birthday. Sometimes she whispered it to a cousin just loudly enough. Sometimes she said it when Eli was close enough to hear. And every time, my parents ran the same defense. That is just Denise. You know how she is. Ignore her. When Eli was 6, he came to me at bedtime and asked, very quietly, Dad, what does bastard mean? I asked where he had heard it. He whispered, Aunt Denise says it about me when Grandma is not listening. I called my parents the next morning. My mother sighed and said Denise had always had a sharp tongue. My father told me I was making it into something bigger than it was. No, I said, you are allowing it. After that call, we stopped attending anything Denise attended. Nearly 2 years of peace. Then came my parents' 40th anniversary dinner at the country club, and the begging, and the promise that Denise would behave. Mara talked me into one last chance. Eli, 8 now, wore a little navy suit and held doors for his grandparents all evening. For 2 hours, Denise behaved. Then dessert arrived, and my uncle finished his toast, and Denise stood up with her glass. You two always taught us that family comes first, she said, smiling at my parents. Even when some people have children before they bother getting married. A few nervous laughs. She kept going. I suppose every family has room for one little bastard. Eli stared down at his plate. Mara wrapped her arm around him, and I felt calmer than I had felt in 5 years, because of what was sitting in my jacket pocket. 2 months earlier, a woman named Hannah had contacted me through a DNA ancestry site. She was 24 years old. She was Denise's biological daughter. Denise had gotten pregnant in college, and my parents had quietly arranged a private adoption while telling the whole family she was studying overseas for a year. Hannah had the hospital records. She had the adoption decree with 3 familiar signatures on it. When I asked her if she was okay with the family finally knowing, her answer was simple. I am tired of being everyone's secret. I did not stand up and make a speech. I walked around the table, and I placed a single envelope in front of my sister. Then I sat back down. Denise smirked and opened it. I watched the color leave her face one document at a time. The hospital record. The decree. A photograph of Hannah, standing beside her husband and her own little daughter. And a handwritten note that said, I hope you are finally ready to acknowledge your first child. She looked at my parents, and that told the table everything, because they could not look back at her. My mother had gone white. My father stared at his hands. Denise grabbed her purse and walked out of her parents' anniversary without a word, and my mother and father followed her, and 40 guests watched them go. A week later, my parents demanded I apologize for humiliating Denise. I asked them one question. In 5 years, how many times did you ask Denise to apologize to Eli? Neither of them ever answered it. 3 months after that, a birthday card arrived for my son. No gift, no long letter, just 3 handwritten words. I am sorry, Eli. He read it, folded it carefully, and put it in his desk drawer like it was worth something. Maybe it was. It was the only apology anyone in that family ever gave him. We go to the gatherings again now. So does Denise. She compliments the food, she asks polite questions, and she leaves early. She has never said that word again. It turns out my sister only enjoyed secrets when they belonged to someone else's child.